Making our way in with the prepaid tickets. Fairly simple set of directions, so let's get on with it. The benefit of these is that they were quite simple to work on. No electronics, obviously, 1950s, and reasonably easy to restore, and there's some here in various levels of restoration. Here we have the mini train coming round. No, you're all right, mate. You're all right. You're part of the local colour. This is more your carny folk end of the show area. Not really my thing. We'll have a look. Oh, there's some vehicles over here. We'll go and have a look at those. They've got these set up here for baling straw. This is a steam traction engine. Certainly built to a size, and eventually that leather belting will be run off the flywheel up the top there, which will drive this, where loose hay is thrown in the top. Possibly a threshing machine, actually. If you have a look at the bottom there, you can see the bags for the wheat to go in, and the chaff and whatnot will get thrown out the back end. Another model over there, much smaller obviously. And here's one here for baling straw, baling hay. 1912, this one. We've got a whole series of them over here starting up with the heady smell of coal fire, which is something that would have stunk out most towns and certainly cities. So you've got a US model there, Buffalo Pits from Buffalo, New York, up on the border with Canada. Slow moving, that's actually a steam roller. This one burns wood, as you can see at the back if we get closer, which we will attempt to. It's an awful lot of faffing about to get it into the right spot. Some skill involved in driving one of those. Here we have a smaller version. There's something quite visceral about steam engines. You can see what's happening, which is nice. A bit of a toot there from the young fella because he saw me filming. Very nice. But, they are large machines. Vague memory of seeing steam rollers still being used by the Brisbane City Council when I was a very young fella. So we'll go. Building up heads of steam, I think is the phrase. So 15 minutes in the steam arena, we will see these parading around, which is something to look forward to. Older early motorcycle, early V-twin, and then a motor car behind it. We'll work our way around. Still loading up on this one. Trying to get enough steam up with the heat. And come round to this side. There's some older ones. Look like they're not quite fully operational yet. But interesting. You can see everything You can see the mechanisms up there, so you can follow through how the force is being transferred from steam into motive power. Very different from, this is our 42-inch Marshall threshing machine. There's your threshing machine there, and there's the engine that ran it. It's not together, obviously. You've got cogs up there chained on to keep them from falling off. This one was Marshall Sons and Co. Engineers, Gainsborough, England. Number 37733. I'll do a bit of a Google on that and see if we get some info on it and put it down in the notes below. What you call a standing engine, as you can see there on the notes. It worked in a stationary position. It's quite a beast. There's something quite comforting in watching them moving. Series of what appear to be steam-driven farm tractors. You'll notice the one there on the far right has got different sized back wheels. Can't wait to see that up and running. So we have the carny folk and whatnot, slushy factories, and mind you, Sheffield lamb might be worth having a look at, but we'll see how we go. And there's a steam engine taking a cart of kids. Nice looking.
Make sure if you do see the train passing, wave at all of the people in the carriages, and make sure you're one of the people in the carriages sometime today. That goes into the Sheffield station.
Marshall seems to be quite a common machinery company.
Always wave when you're going past.
Marshall Sons and Co. again from Gainsborough.
Part of the Sheffield Heritage Steamiest.
And we've worked our way back.
We're very grateful that it works all year.
And it looks like they've got the
a big boost. We're very grateful that we have
leather
that
strapping hooked up to the threshing machine. We'll see how that goes when the time comes. Another example of showing you, you can see the workings. They are magnificent pieces of machinery. Just a shame about the climate change, but you know, swings and roundabouts. That one's called the Royal George. There was a ship came out called the Royal George in the early days of the New South Wales colony. So again, we'll do some Googling. Here, a steam-powered launch. It's over to the Light Horse area. Light Horse we've mentioned before in previous videos to do with cemeteries and whatnot. But we'll have a look at what the fellas are up to. We have a corporal. You can see the emu plumes in the Light Horse hat. Old uniforms. Proper bayonet. You knew you were stuck when you copped that in you. Not sure what kind of a horse that is, but they tended to favour what was known as the whalers during the First World War. So that's what your light horse soldier looked like. They were light mounted infantry basically. Rode to battle, dismounted, fought as infantry. Except at the Battle of Beersheba, and I'll put a link to that up top. And more carny folk, the sorts you get at every farmer's market and festival, which seem to be somewhat unavoidable. Yet another Marshall Sons and Co from Gainsborough, England. Again, you can see the workings. Got a fair height there too. So you get a good view. This one's a wood powered. Lots of finagling around up there on the levers. Yeah. A thing to behold. View from the other side. You can still see The workings are fairly obvious. Quite an impressive over there. The American one started moving. It's just stopped since I hit record. So we'll go around and have a look from another angle. Yeah, this American one. Yep, horn works. Is for baling hay, not threshing. And you can see the modern adaptation of adding strips of rubber tractor tyre from the diesel driven tractors onto those larger wheels. Give a better grip than the original ones, which I'll show you now. Just slats of steel basically, or iron of some sort. It probably didn't grip as well as the rubber ones. Oh, here's one from John Fowler and Co. Leeds. Same principles, wheels slightly differently configured, but again you can see everything that's happening. So if you need to fix it, you can. Or you know what's wrong at the very least. And you can see the whole line of the beasties are firing up, so to speak. I think that's the correct term even. Quite impressive. We have here an early 20th century AJS, an English model, with quite an impressive sidecar. But if you look here on the side, that little lever there on the side of the fuel tank is for gear changing. You didn't really have time to worry about getting your lines right for corners, and you were faffing about trying to keep upright. And of course a tractor style seat known as a saddle. That little one up there is called Annie. I raced and got a photo of that, and nearly got myself run over by Ransom, Sims and Jeffries. They do move slow enough for me not to get run over. You'd have to be very unlucky to be run over by a steam tractor. There's one with a wooden boiler, which is quite interesting. But it's actually a steam roller, you can tell from the wheels on the front and rear. It'll be used for road work and building dams and all kinds of things. Mind you, the air is getting rather choked with the fumes. There's the steamroller again, with the wooden boiler, or wooden casing over the boiler. And it's just going past a bullock team, which was the motive power before steam engines. Horses were in very short supply in the early colonies, so bullocks were not only good for traction power, when the time came you could also eat them. These are quite large beasts, as you can see. That fella there's probably about 5'8", I guess, plus his hat. So you can see there's a fair bit of height at the shoulders. These are dairy cattle steers, so they were bulls and they've had their reproductive capacity removed. And so they just grow and get big. They get really good at pulling stuff. So hopefully we'll get to a point where we'll see them dragging something. Another baby one. What a lot of fun that'd be. A little bit like watching ships at sea.
Thank you.
They're not moving that quickly, but they are moving. Working their way back and forth.
Through the air a lot faster.
Bit of a hoot.
This next routine is called the machine gun.
Again, another Marshall's traction engine, 5 horsepower job. This is going to be used to drive a threshing machine. I'll just go around the side. Now, there's the threshing machine. Okay, and now they're moving the engine back slowly to get the right tension on the the webbing belt. And they're off.
You know what? I think
Sort
this
of.
is the fastest it's been. Well done. Thank you.
1880, that's an older one. That's the one from Leeds. Not sure who that one's made by. Yeah, they move. I mean, there's more movement going on the board than there is moving forward, but movement is movement. Quite an impressive thing. There's the Royal George again. If you look closely, see up on top of the timber there's some sort of border collie, maybe border collie cross with a blue heeler by the look of those colours, but who's to know? There you go, Her Ladyship on the move. This one's, funnily enough, a McLaren from Leeds. Very nice brass work on it, and what appear to be traditional tyres, or maybe they're rubber instead of steel, I don't know. But again, you can see the workings. And in the back there is the timber. Quite a gentle, different way of living back in the olden days, I guess. Like we discovered when we were in New Zealand, there's a strong Scottish connection with the lower latitudes, or higher latitudes, I guess they're called. But, as close as I could get to Scotland, I guess, with this weather. And where there's Scots, there will of course be the two-handed bagpipes, as opposed to the Irish uilleann pipes. You can still have a pipe. This is a Fogden 1911, and you can see the flywheel there is driving the belt, which is driving another belt and so on. And it's picking up and sorting gravel, or road base, I guess. From one spot to another. Not exactly sure, but it is at work. And you can see every bit at work. You can understand what's going on. Really a magnificent and noisy time to have been alive. Here come the bullocks again.
A lovely ride.
Very well trained. An old bloke had no idea he was walking in front of them.
What's your name, young lady?
And there they go.
Your name is Holly. Are you enjoying Steamfest? I'm Tom. What's your name, young man?
Very well trained, very docile, as I guess most males are when they've had their reproductive capacity removed. I think we might have seen this one already, but we're having another look. This is other Marshall, Sons & Co. As written on the wheel. So some Sheffield lamb on a bread roll. And we look here at the program, in the corner, more Art Deco motifs. I don't seem to be able to avoid it. So let's give this lamb burger a try. Is good. Gonski. Really good lamb. And an electric bike at a Steamfest. Funnily enough, it's diesel at the front. There's the Yoldy touristies. Oh, a cattle truck. And I guess they come back under steam. We'll wait and catch them coming back. So here's the threshing machine at work. A 7 horsepower Marshall on this occasion. And yeah, the people throwing up oats, I think. And you can see the machine is driving all number of belts and pulleys and whatnot. A bit, give you a better view. And well, them fellas are at this end. There you go. bags of oats, the oat grain coming at the bottom. And the straw and chaff and whatnot getting shovelled out the far end. See the straw has had all the seeds knocked off it. And there's a little bit of chaff and whatnot flying backwards and being blown out the bottom of the machine. A truly magnificent piece of kit. Surprise, surprise, the Marshal. That's the Royal George again, taking the tourists on a bit of a trot around the arena. Coffee o'clock, so in we go. Impressive beast. I'm not sure what... they always toot when they say they're being filmed. It's quite delightful. Would be better yet if it was made in Scotland, as it comes past the pipes and drums